The newest addition to the UFC light heavyweight division, Modestas Bukauskas. What's going on, man? You're in quarantine right now. How was the hotel?
Yeah, doing good, man. The hotel's actually pretty nice. I mean, listen, it's got enough room for a big lug like myself. It's pretty chilled out. I mean, the Wi-Fi is not great around here, but do you know what I mean? It's good. At the end of the day, it's like this is the start of the journey, and like I say, I can't wait for it all. So I'm just enjoying the whole experience, and I've got my trusty camera with me, so I'm gonna be documenting the whole thing. It's gonna be amazing.
Awesome, man. It's been a long journey for real because, you got your contract signed in January. You must be up to your eyeballs in just anticipation.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I was already. It was good they sort of already told me what to expect. I mean, they told me that I probably wasn't going to get on the London card because they already had their spots filled. So I understood that I was probably going to fight later than March. So already with the thought in mind, I'm not going to be fighting until summer. Yeah, it's a bit of a bummer, but I'm like, okay, well, eventually summer will come around. So I really just took a lot of time just to sort of work on weaker areas of my game and just to really just sort of improve. And like I say, as a martial artist, I feel like it should be a life thing. You should be training, pretty much all the time just to better your craft. And that's exactly what I've been doing. So, leading up to any sort of fight news and stuff like that, I've literally just been trying to train and trying to improve. And yeah, it's been good. Like I say, I'm sort of in the mindset of I've just got to be ready at any point. So yeah, obviously the fight came when it did, but like I said, I'm always trying to better myself.
Going back to what you just said about improvements, your last fight was in November of 2019. Gives you 9 months or so, right, to just focus on certain aspects of your game, improve on certain things. What have you been improving on? What have you been focusing on through those months?
Well, it's just stuff that I wasn't really necessarily able to do in camp. So, when you're training for a fight, you're doing everything specific to a particular opponent, and the game plan is going to be very strategic towards that. And obviously, you're trying to improve your skills like in all areas, anyways. But nothing's very not as specific to unless it's to an opponent. So. Stuff that I've been doing in sessions where you go to a class or whatever, or you go to a train session MMA with one of your coaches, and they'll just do what's sort of on their mind, planned out, ready for that session, and you're just at the at the power of the coach and stuff like that. So it was good to sort of go over all the moves that I had done previously, but I didn't get a chance to go over. So now I've just made it more crisp, more flush, like more crystal clear in my head. You know what I mean? There was a lot of especially grappling moves and stuff like that I really wanted to work on, that I was able to drill consistently over the time and over the course of this time. Obviously since January. So like all sorts of grappling moves, striking movements. Like really, it's just like a whole broad range of stuff that I've just been sort of waiting to be able to get my hands on a little bit more, or tweak, or sort of tighten up a little bit. I never got the chance because you're moving from one move to the next, and you're just trying to sort of expand as much more knowledge as instead of like really critiquing and fine tuning. So yeah, like I said, I've just been able to really fine tune the movements that I really wanted to work on myself. Like I said, especially during quarantine and stuff like that, and not being able to go and see people and stuff like that, it makes you like really focus even more on yourself, which has been a great thing.
Before the quarantine, before all the lockdown stuff happened, did you go to other spots and drop in certain places that you might know people at and train with them?
Well, I mean, obviously with lockdown and stuff like that, obviously, we had to take it seriously and stuff like that. So at the beginning, like with my training, it really didn't change much. I mean, listen, when you got your gym downstairs in your back garden, and your head coach literally lives in the room right next to you, it's hard not to train and keep in shape and keep sharp. Like I train with my dad pretty much every single day, just different sort of areas. So the strength and conditioning stayed up, the striking and stuff like that stayed up, even improved, and yeah, and then like I said, I mean, even as much as it hurts my dad's body, as he's getting older and stuff like that, to drill, but he was very happy to drill all the movements that I needed to do. Like I said, making everything crisper and sharper. It was only as sort of lockdown sort of lighten up a little bit, that obviously I was then able to introduce sparring partners to my house, and then we're able to train again even more, which has been an absolute blessing. It's been absolutely amazing. I've got to thank all my training partners, some of them traveling, a little bit over an hour just to come to train with me. And it's amazing. It's good, like I said, that I have the facilities at home, and then I can get my training partners to come down and train with me, and then we can all get better together. So yeah, it's been really good. Like I said, training wise, especially this time round, I feel has been even better than previous camps.
Now, over the weekend, fighters and corners, they started testing positive for the coronavirus. Your opponent also tested positive for the coronavirus. How did you end up finding out about the news? Did you find out like everybody else online, or did your managers contact you and say, hey, something's going to change soon?
Yeah, literally, it was funny because I had a bit of a hard time, because my medicals were due, and like I had to go and like rush and go to different places to get all that sorted. So my mind was pretty much all over the place at that point anyways. So I was kind of like, like a bit rushed and everything. And then like, halfway through conversation, my manager drops me a message. He goes, oh, by the way, your opponent's out. But he didn't say why. He just said, your opponent is out. They're looking for a new opponent. And I was like, okay. But I like the way that he sort of, sent me the information. He just, because he knew that they would find me an opponent, and he knew that, it wouldn't be a problem. So at the end of the day, it kept me calm, and it made me really not think too much about the situation. I'm like, okay, well, listen, it's the UFC. They're going to be able to find someone to replace him last minute anyway. So, yeah, like I said, it was like sort of all the rush of trying to get medicals and do this and, getting excited. And then next thing manager says your opponent's out, but don't worry, we're going to get you another one. So, it was a bit, crazy to think that, a guy that usually takes every fight all the time didn't get it. And I was, like I said, I was literally speculating the whole time, like what could it possibly, and then next thing you see on the internet and stuff like that, and then it says that he tested for COVID. So realistically, I sort of accidentally then afterwards find out exactly why he couldn't make the fight.
So was Andreas the first option that they came with, and you just said yeah? Because I know yourself, I've seen interviews before. You're like, man, I'll fight anybody. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm at that point. So was he the first option?
Well, yeah, that's the first name they threw at me, and basically he just said, "Listen, you're fighting this person." I'm like, "Cool." At the end of the day, business is business. You got to go in there and beat whoever. Do you know what I mean? You just said it just now. Like you got to be able to adapt and overcome to any situation. So I've been dealt a certain hand. Okay, well now I'm gonna adapt to my new opponent, and like I say, because I'm training. Obviously, I'm training specifically for certain people, but that's just making my weak areas strong. So it's going to make it even more tough for my opponents in general, even if they are better than the previous opponents. So, yeah, it's been a crazy ride, man. But like I say, I'll fight anyone that they give me.
You go from a grappler to a power striker, basically. And in some ways, I look at your skill set and Andreas' skill set, and it matches up pretty well, man. Are you satisfied with the replacement?
Very satisfied. I have to admit, when I first got it, it actually made me even more excited because, like I said, I've not really fought a legitimate striker as of yet, in my career. So it's very nice to sort of get that matchup. And not only that, it makes you more excited because this is a much more entertaining fight for everyone else. Like, do you know what I mean? When you're pitting two, sort of very well-rounded guys up against each other. Andreas, like I say, when we looked at him in the videos and on paper and stuff like that, he's very, like I say, very all-rounded. I guess you could say predominantly his striking sort of outshines everything. But yeah, he's very all-rounded. So every time I realize that there's a step up in competition or whatever, it makes me up my game. I think this has been a blessing because, like I said, every time I've been dealt a hand where the guy's been, much better in a certain area or whatever, or they're just a lot tougher, I've always stepped up and risen up to the occasion, and that's exactly what I'm going to go and do.
Most fighters, when they go into a fight, there's like two obstacles, right? There's the obstacle of training and keeping the injuries at a minimum and then making weight, and then the fight is fun for them. This time around, it's like you got the training, you got the making the weight, and then you got the coronavirus testing. Does that kind of change the outlook that you have moving forward with your career, especially during this pandemic?
Mm, Not at all. I mean, listen, like I said, any circumstances that are being thrown at you, you just got to get on with it. You just got to deal with it. It doesn't matter how stressful or whatever. I think that's just life. You're always going to get peaks and troughs, ups and downs, things that get thrown at you, obstacles you have to overcome. And like I said, it's almost fun in a way, but it makes for a better story. It makes for a more entertaining. The roller coaster ride is a very turbulent one, but it's amazing at the same time. I think you don't really, I'm really getting the most out of all these different experiences by, sometimes all these, these little bits of adversity, these little things. It just shows you as well, like, shows the toughness in your mind, the toughness in your body, and stuff like that, to be able to just deal whatever comes at you. It almost makes you feel a bit, like superhuman, like you're invincible, like, and that's the thing. You want to just keep growing in confidence in any situation. And I think, being dealt with those certain things, like I said, it just makes you more confident, not only in a fight and in your training, and it just makes you more confident at life. And I think that, like I said, is a very good thing to have.
The UFC Apex had no crowd. UFC Fight Island is rumored to have VIP fans in attendance. Does that put some kind of like movie vibe to your fight? Especially when you're gonna walk out, you see some people sitting out there that are probably multi-billionaires or something, right?
It gives you even more reason to want to impress. You know what I mean? Yeah. You've got a multi-billionaire just sitting there. It's like, kind of start a little bit of an investment out here, sponsor. You know what I'm saying? Nah, but obviously, I think it gives that sort of Enter the Dragon type feel. Do you know what I mean? Like, again, it just brings a load of excitement. I mean, to be honest, I don't really notice the crowd anyways. I mean, listen, even when my friends are like cheering for me, I might notice them for like 5 seconds. Then when they call my name for me to go walk out, it's tunnel vision from there on out. I don't notice nothing. So, and again, in a sort of a massive arena, only with dotted about little bits of people here and there, and it's not like a full arena. It's just going to make me even easier for me to sort of just tunnel vision myself and just like concentrate at the task at hand. It's almost going to have a bit of a vibe to. I remember I went to Team Nogueira. Shout out to Team Nogueira. When I was 21, so quite a while back. But I remember it's just like, you're going into a cage. You've got like just all the guys like standing around the cage or whatever, and you're basically just going all at it against another guy in the cage. And they literally, I remember I seen one guy getting dropped and then just bringing another one. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it will bring that sort of vibe. Like, you got like these people just around in the cage, but it's like very sort of secluded and a little bit more of an intimate sort of setting. And like I said, it just makes you want to show out more. It makes you want to sort of bring. I think just the fact that I'm fighting now in the UFC finally after all these years, it just makes me want to bring out the best of myself, because now this is the time to really show out your full skill set and really try and impress.
Definitely. When you visualize your UFC debut playing out, what do you see?
I see only victory. Like I say, anytime I'm thinking about my debut, I'm always constantly putting visions in my head of success and nothing else. I mean, listen, people can say, you got to be prepared for losses. You got to be prepared for certain things not to go so well and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I don't see that. I feel like, especially, I think your confidence grows with every fight, with all your training sessions, with how you're performing and how you're taking things. And my confidence has risen massively, and I know if I can bring out the best of myself, I can overcome any opponent. So, for me, I visualize the finish. I always visualize the finish because I'm wanting to go and finish my opponent. I'm visualizing to go and finish my opponent in the second round. So, like I said, these are the sort of things that are running through my mind. That's the only thing I see when I'm looking at this fight. He's very dangerous. He's got to give him massive credit. He's a very all-rounded fighter with a lot of a skill set, but I believe I'm better. This is why we're in the UFC. Everyone thinks that they're going to be better than the other person, and it's my job to go out there and prove it. He's going to go do his bit. I'm going to do mine, but I know that my skill set is going to come out on top.
Now, one more thing before I let you go. When you look at the light heavyweight division in the UFC, there's so many guys from Europe. You got Gustafsson, Volkan, Rakic. Jan, what is it about that region and about the 205 division? How can you tell me exactly? Could you pinpoint why you guys produce such great fighters in that division?
I don't know. It's just a surge. I think there's been a long time that, there's been a long time about, they're saying that light heavyweight division isn't that deep. There's no one else for John Jones to fight, or even anyone else in that division, to be honest. And saying that the lighter divisions usually are, more well equipped in terms of, like, it's just because there's a lot more well known names. But like I say, now in light heavyweight division, there's a lot more names sort of coming up, rising up, showing out their skill set. And yeah, it's just, there's an abundance of talent. Like, all around the world, there's an abundance of talent. And like, this is now our time to bring the light heavyweight division back to its prowess of, back in the day when you had like the Rampage Jacksons, the Chuck Liddells and stuff like that. So, we're now creating that sort of legend type, roster of fighters. And, at the end of the day, I can't wait to go and fight all these top level guys and, really test my skill set, because everyone's trying to become the best fighter in the world. So, when you got loads of tough opposition in front of you, when you go out and do the job, at the end of the day, it just makes it even more credible. So, like I said, I can't wait for the whole journey. I know it's going to be absolutely amazing.
All right, July 15th, UFC Fight Island debut. Be safe, man. Have a fun fight, and I'm gonna enjoy it, man. From far away, but it's gonna be fun to watch. I guarantee you, this is an exciting matchup. If people are not excited for this, I don't know what they know about fighting.
Thank you very much, man. Definitely 100%. I'm going to put on a show for you.